Betty's Secret. Betty and Fiona were twin sisters. They looked exactly the same. There was only one difference between them. Betty colored her hair red, and Fiona colored her hair blonde. The twins lived together in a small house. On Friday evening, they went to work at the Sports Center Sentry. A sign outside the Sports Sentry said, "Friday, the big fight." The Sports Sentry was full of people waiting to see the big fight. The referee stepped under the top rope and into the ring. "Ladies and gentlemen," shouted the referee, "silence please for tonight's fight." The doors of the changing room opened. "And here she is," shouted the referee, "everyone's favorite fair Fiona." The crowd cheered. Fiona, dressed in pink, came into the hall. Her blonde hair was flowing behind her. She jumped over the top rope and landed in the ring. She waved to the crowd and blew them kisses. The crowd stood and clapped. They wanted Fiona to win. The referee spoke again, "And tonight she is going to fight." The doors of the changing room opened again. One door crashed against the wall and broke. "Her wicked twin sister, Bad Betty," shouted the referee. Betty, dressed in black, came into the hall. Her long red hair was flowing behind her. She jumped into the ring. She shook her fist. The crowd shouted at Betty. They wanted her to win. The referee looked at his watch. Betty grabbed Fiona and threw her against the ropes. The crowd shouted at the referee. Betty raced back to her corner. The referee turned around. "I haven't done anything wrong," shouted Betty. 3, 2, 1, start fighting, shouted the referee. Fiona got up and raced across to Betty. She gave Betty a big kick. The crowd stood up and cheered. Betty picked up Fiona and lifted her above her head. The crowd shouted. The fight continued for 5 rounds. Then the referee shouted, "And the winner is Fair Fiona." The crowd cheered Fiona. They shouted at Betty. The night Barry and Fiona sat at home drinking hot chocolate. "Tonight's fight was very good," said Fiona. "Really?" said Barry. "What, are you upset about the lift?" asked Fiona. "No," replied Betty. "The kick?" asked Fiona again. "No," replied Barry again. "Then why are you so upset?" asked Fiona. Betty began to cry. "What's the matter?" asked Fiona. "Well," said Betty, "people always cheer you and they always shout at me." "That's because I am Fair Fiona and you are Betty," said Fiona. "Can we change?" asked Betty. "You can be frightening Fiona. I can be beautiful Betty." "Don't be silly," said Fiona. "You are good at being bad." "You can teach me how to be good," said Betty, "and I can teach you how to be bad." "No," said Fiona. "My fans won't like me if I'm bad." The next Friday morning, the twins went into the living room after breakfast. They put the table and chairs at the back of the room. They moved the television, the goldfish bowl, and their books into the kitchen. When the room was clear, Fiona said, "Ready?" "Ready," said Betty. Then the twins began to fight. Betty threw Fiona across the room. Fiona jumped and landed softly on her feet. The twins always practiced for the fight on Friday night. Both twins were very good at fighting. They worked hard so they would not hurt each other in the fight. After practicing, the twins had to tidy their house before they had a lunch. The twins liked cooking, but they hated housework. Every day they tossed a coin before they started cooking. Heads, said Betty. Tails, said Fiona. I win. Today Betty lost, so she had to move all the things from the kitchen back into the living room. Then she had to put the table and chairs back in the middle of the room. Fiona won, so she cooked lunch. After lunch, Betty went quietly into the bathroom and locked the door. She had an idea. Betty put on her sister's blonde hair color. She looked in the mirror and smiled. Her hair was blonde like Fiona's. She poured the rest of the blonde hair color down the sink. Then she filled the bottle with some of her red hair color. Fiona knocked on the door. Hurry up, she shouted. I'm nearly finished, replied Betty. I must color my hair before I go running, said Fiona. Betty came out of the bathroom. She had a towel around her head. I feel much better, said Betty. I've left the bathroom tidy. I don't have much time, said Fiona. I'll be late. Fiona hurried into the bathroom. She put on her hair color quickly. She was in a hurry and she did not look in the mirror. Enjoy running, said Betty. Fiona ran slowly down the road. She ran through the park. Fiona saw a little kitten sitting on a wall. Hello, little kitten, she said. She tried to touch the kitten, but it ran up a tree. A policeman was passing by. I saw you frighten that kitten. What an unkind thing to do, he said. I only tried to touch it, said Fiona quietly. She ran to the playground. Some children were playing on the swings. Would you like a push? She asked. The children looked at Fiona and screamed. They jumped off the swings and ran away. The policeman ran up to Fiona. What are you doing? You frightened those children. Go and frighten someone your own size, he told her. Fiona ran off. Fiona stopped for a rest outside the supermarket. An old lady was pushing her trolley into the supermarket. Fiona ran over to help. She opened the door and said, Please go in. It's a trick. You are going to shut the door in my face, said the old lady. The manager of the supermarket arrived. Stop frightening my customers, he said to Fiona. Go away or I will call the police. Fiona could not understand. She ran sadly back to the house. Betty was in the garden. What have you done to your hair? Screamed Fiona. Do you like it? Asked Betty. It's blonde. That's my hair color, said Fiona. Is it really? Asked Betty. She took a mirror from her pocket. She hurried up to Fiona. My hair, screamed Fiona. It's red, but that's your hair color. I know, said Betty. Everybody will think that I am you, said Fiona. That's right, laughed Betty. I'll have to color my hair again, said Fiona. You can't, said Betty. Why not? Asked Fiona. Because I poured your hair color down the sink, said Betty. But we have to be at the sports entry in 10 minutes, screamed Fiona. What are we going to do? The sports entry was full of people. They were all waiting to see the big fight. The referee stood in the middle of the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, he shouted, here she is, everyone's favorite, Fair Fiona. Betty, dressed in pink with her blonde hair flowing behind her, raced forward and jumped into the ring. She waved to the crowd. Everybody cheered. And here, shouted the referee, her wicked twin sister Betty. Fiona, dressed in black with her red hair flowing behind her, jumped into the ring. She shook her fist at Betty. The crowd saw her shaking her fist. They shouted at her. The fight began. Fiona and Betty held each other by the shoulders. "Do you like being the bad one?" whispered Betty. "No, it's horrible," said Fiona. "Everybody wants me to lose." "I felt the same. I hate it too," whispered Betty. "Now I'm going to throw you over my shoulder. Ready?" She threw Fiona over her shoulder and the crowd cheered. Betty waved at the crowd and smiled. At the end of the fight, the referee shouted, "And the winner is Fair Fiona." Betty, with blonde hair and dressed in pink, waved. The crowd cheered. After the fight, the two sisters sat in the changing room and talked. "Why are you looking so pleased with yourself?" asked Fiona. "Because I won," said Betty. "But you didn't win," said Fiona. The referee said, "And the winner is Fair Fiona, and that's me." "Oh," said Betty. Someone knocked on the door. "Come in," shouted Fiona. A little man carrying a large bunch of flowers came shyly into the changing room. "I brought some flowers for Fiona," he said. "That's very kind," said Fiona, smiling. The man walked past Fiona and gave the flowers to Betty. "You're my favorite, Fiona," he said to Betty. Then his face went very red and he ran out of the room. "Betty," said Fiona, "those flowers are for me." "Oh no," said Betty, "he gave them to me." "Really?" said Fiona angrily. "This is stupid." "I have an idea," said Betty. "This will make everyone happy." "Okay, what is it?" asked Fiona. "Every Friday," said Betty, "we toss a coin to decide our hair color. The winner colored her hair blonde and the loser colors her hair red." "No," said Fiona, "I can't agree to that." "Okay," said Betty, "then I shall keep my hair blonde and we can both be Fair Fiona. Nobody will come to watch two Fionas fighting. So we won't get any money, then we will have to sell the house then." All right, said Fiona, "I agree." So every Friday, the two sisters moved the furniture in the living room and practices of fighting. Then they tosses a coin. The loser did the housework. After lunch, they tosses a coin again to decide their hair color. Sometimes it was Betty with the blonde hair and Fiona with the red hair. Sometimes it was Fiona with the blonde hair and Betty with the red hair. Nobody in the crowd at the sports century ever noticed. The end.